I should say I'm very passionate about the whole idea of electric cars.
And forward, that's in reverse, and away we go.
Or I wouldn't have left a good job with John Deere to do this.
Bruce Wood.
We've got a horn.
Here's your horn. You've got lights.
And Amy Nielsen say the time is right to floor it. Here in Port Byron, their business selling the concept of neighborhood electric vehicles is shifting into overdrive to meet the demands of desperate drivers.
When they look at $3.50 gas, $4 a gallon gas, they start to say, maybe this makes sense.
With a top speed of 25 miles an hour, this is not your father's Cadillac, but it's also not a golf cart. And with a range of 50 miles on a 50-cent power charge, it may be paving the electric road to our future.
Well, most of the people that we talk to, Matt, are so very excited about the technology. They're buying into it. They want it. It's not coming quick enough for a lot of them.
If you've seen the film Who Killed the Electric Car,
tires screeching and panels cracking against each other as they shoved them onto the tracks.
You know GM mutilated a promising model in the 90s.
The EV1, which is the star of the Who Killed the Electric Car, was a great car. It's a technical marvel.
But Bruce says while the car worked wonderfully during peaceful times and $1.50 gas, nobody cared. Now the road is a whole lot bumpier.
As people start to understand why we're in the Middle East, it's because of oil, why we have a global warming issue, people are now willing to consider a different paradigm for how they get around.
So now they'll talk to anyone who will listen. Ready? Here we go.
Here we go.
And risk their lives to make believers out of the rest of us. With foot to the floor, slower speeds, these neighborhood electrics are best suited for retirement and planned communities or college campuses and places like the Arsenal. But Amy and Bruce say it's a critical beginning to getting plugged in to where we eventually need to go.
People a lot of times say to me, well, we're turning into the Jetsons. And yes, we are, and we need to. I don't know if we'll have hovercrafts, but I think we'll be able to go a long way on electricity and hydrogen.
You guys are having far too much fun.
Outside, forgive the lack of a giant neon marquee, but inside, the floors are never sticky or littered with popcorn, and you won't have to pray for an empty seat. This is not Tribeca or Sundance.
No red carpets, just a lot of green folk.
Paris won't be here at Davenport's Unitarian Church, thank God, but co-founder Catherine Allen says the third annual Quad Cities Environmental Film Festival does have star power.
I do think that the issues of the environment are becoming increasingly important to people. What happened to this wonderful idea of fuel-efficient cars?
Among the blockbusters up on the green screen, the controversial Who Killed the Electric Car? The film chronicles the meteoric rise of gas-guzzling cars in the 1960s.
They loaded them up, tires screeching and panels cracking against each other as they shoved them onto the tracks.
And the seemingly systematic whacking of the electric technology later developed by GM.
I tell you, when I noticed that GM was losing interest was when I wanted to release my car, and they wouldn't let me.
Bruce Wood and Amy Nielsen have an e-car story of their own to tell here in Port Byron, but they're hoping for a much happier ending. They're in the process of developing and marketing an entire fleet of future cars that are ready to drive right now. Amy and Bruce are hosting the movie Who Killed the Electric Car, to which they respond,
No one killed the electric car. We're in one.
That's in reverse, and away we go.
I should say I'm very passionate about the whole idea of electric cars, or I wouldn't have left a good job with John Deere to do this. The film, I have a lot of respect for what they did. I will say that most of what's in the film is absolutely correct and accurate.
And then, Catherine's favorite.
That was fun.
King Corn follows two young filmmakers from the East Coast who set out to document what's in their food. They discover both their great-grandfathers grew up in the tiny town of Greene, Iowa, and that's where their adventure takes them to try to grow their own food. It's a mix of fish-out-of-water antics, agriculture enlightenment, and allegations of insidious big industry dealings to make us all rely on the golden grains that fill our supermarkets.
Cornstarch, corn gluten meal, hydrolyzed corn protein, corn syrup.
A total of 6 films for those who come to church, and while the Save Our Environment theme may seem like preaching to the choir, Catherine says that still gets a thumbs up from her.
I've always maintained that the choir needs ongoing inspiration. My hope is always that knowledge and understanding will lead to greater wisdom in how we live our lives. So I'm hoping that that kind of process leads to people becoming thoughtful activists for the environment.
Corn.